You are currently living through the slow, agonizing death of your own value in the eyes of someone you once cherished. You feel the temperature in the room drop whenever you speak, and you have become a background detail in a life where you used to be the lead actor. This invisible wound is not a mystery of fate. It is the direct result of you allowing your presence to become cheap, predictable, and entirely free of cost. You believe that if you just scream louder, wait longer, or give more of your soul, they will finally remember who you are. But the truth is that your desperation is the very thing blinding them to your worth. You have forgotten that the most powerful thing you can do when you are no longer appreciated is to vanish without an explanation. The mechanism of loss begins with the panicked urge to overextend yourself when you feel someone pulling away. You send the extra text, you offer the unrequested favor, and you double down on your kindness as if you could buy back their interest with the currency of your own dignity. This biological reflex is a survival mechanism designed to prevent social exclusion, but in the modern world, it functions as a repellent. By giving more to someone who gives you less, you are signaling that your internal market has crashed, and that you are willing to sell your willing spirit at a discount just to stay in the room. Psychologically, this behavior reinforces a dynamic where the other person views you as an infinite resource rather than a human being. Historically, when a resource becomes too abundant and too easy to acquire, its perceived value drops to zero. You are effectively teaching them that they can neglect you without consequence, because you will always be there to fill the gap they left behind. Your effort is not seen as love. It is seen as a lack of options and a desperate need for external validation to prove that you still exist. You must recognize that you cannot win a game where the rules are designed to make you lose your self-respect. The solution is to immediately halt the flow of unearned energy. If they have stopped investing in you, you must stop subsidizing their life with your attention. This is not a tactic to manipulate them into coming back. It is a necessary act of conservation for your own mental health. You reclaim your power by realizing that your more is precisely what made them value you less. Absence is not just the lack of presence. It is a heavy, silent language that forces the other person to confront the reality of what they have lost. When you are always there, you are like oxygen, vital but entirely ignored. It is only when the air is removed that the organism begins to gasp and realize its dependency. By withdrawing your presence, you are forcing them to experience the world without the comfort and security you once provided. This void creates a psychological pressure that no amount of talking or arguing could ever achieve. This reflects the evolutionary principle of scarcity. Humans are hardwired to ignore what is constant and obsess over what is missing. In the silence you create, their brain is forced to process the transition from taken for granted to permanently gone. This is where the true evaluation of the relationship happens. If they do not feel the weight of your absence, then they never truly valued your presence to begin with. The distance is a diagnostic tool that reveals the objective truth of where you stand in their hierarchy of importance. You must allow the void to speak for you. Resist the urge to explain why you are pulling away, as explanation is just another form of seeking their attention. Let the silence be absolute, and let the distance be genuine. You are not hiding. You are simply placing yourself back in the center of your own life. When you stop being the background noise in theirs, you finally give them the opportunity to feel the silence you've been living in for months. Your presence has become a series of predictable notes that no longer create a melody. It is time to change the song by removing the instrument entirely. Silence is a visceral statement of high value that says you are no longer willing to negotiate for the scraps of someone else's attention. It communicates a level of self-control that is rare and therefore deeply intimidating to those who thought they owned your emotions. You are shifting the narrative from "why won't they talk to me?" to "why am I allowing myself to be somewhere I am not seen?" Psychologically, an unexplained absence creates a Zeigarnik effect in the mind of the observer, an unfinished loop that the brain feels compelled to close. Because you haven't given them a reason or a fight, They are left to invent their own reasons, most of which will center on their own failings. Historically, the most respected figures were those whose time was guarded by the gate of mutual respect. By walking away with dignity, you are re-establishing yourself as a person of substance whose companionship must be earned every single day. Reframing your retreat as a position of strength rather than a reaction to pain is essential. You are not leaving them. You are arriving at a place where your peace is more important than their approval. Every day you remain silent and focused on your own path. You are writing a new story where you are the protagonist once again. You don't need to win an argument when you have already won back your time. Walking away is a silent declaration that your internal peace is a kingdom that no longer accepts invaders or tourists who refuse to pay the price of admission. It is the moment you realize that your heart is not a public park where anyone can walk in and leave their trash behind. This shift in perspective is the birth of true sovereignty. You are no longer waiting for them to grant you permission to feel valuable. You are taking that value and moving it to a safe location, away from their indifference and back into your own hands. This psychological sovereignty is the antidote to the victim mentality that keeps you trapped in toxic cycles. When you stop reacting to their neglect, you strip them of their role as the arbiter of your happiness. Historically, the sovereign was the one who could not be moved by the whims of those outside their borders. By establishing this mental boundary, you are signaling to your own subconscious that you are capable of protecting yourself. You are telling the world that your dignity is non-negotiable, and that your absence is the natural consequence of their lack of appreciation. The reframing is simple. You are not losing a relationship. You are gaining a self. Every step you take away from someone who devalues you is a step toward a version of yourself that is whole and unshakable. This isn't about pride or ego. It is about the fundamental right to exist in a space of respect. Embrace the solitude as a sanctuary of your own making, where the only voice that matters is the one that tells you that you are enough. The time you spend in the distance must be used as a furnace for your own transformation, not a waiting room for their return. If you spend your absence checking their social media or asking friends about them, you are not healing. You are just starving. You must take all that wasted energy you were pouring into them and redirect it inward with a ferocious intensity. This is the stage of internal alchemy, where the lead of your pain is transformed into the gold of your own character and newfound passions. This redirection of energy is a biological requirement for recovery. Your brain needs new stimuli to break the addictive loops of the past. By cultivating new skills, focusing on your physical health, and surrounding yourself with people who actually see you, you are literally rebuilding your neural pathways. Historically, the periods of greatest growth for any individual have always followed a period of profound isolation or loss. You are in that fertile soil right now. The pain you feel is just the friction of you becoming someone you can actually be proud of. You must treat yourself with the same obsessive care you used to give to them. Cook the meals you love, read the books that challenge you, and move your body in ways that make you feel alive. Each small act of self-care is a nail in the coffin of your former desperation. You are becoming magnetic not because you want them back, but because you have finally fallen in love with the process of becoming yourself. You are not a victim of their disrespect. You are a victim of the lack of boundaries you failed to enforce. People do not treat us how we want to be treated. They treat us how we allow them to treat us. Every time you accepted a late text, a canceled plan, or a cold shoulder without a word, you were teaching them that your boundaries are made of paper. Reclaiming your value requires you to become the architect of a new set of firm, healthy limits that define where their access to your life ends and your self-respect begins. Psychologically, boundaries are the framework that allows for true intimacy to exist. Without them, there is only enmeshment and eventual resentment. By showing people the door when they refuse to respect the house, you are actually being more honest and compassionate than if you stayed and suffered. Historically, the most stable civilizations were those that had clear laws and protected borders. Your life requires the same level of governance. A boundary is not a wall to keep people out. It is a gate that only opens for those who know how to behave inside. The next time you are faced with a desire, your response must be your behavior, not your words. You don't need to give a lecture on how they should treat you. You simply remove your presence from the interaction. When they realize that their access to you is contingent on their behavior, they will either step up or step out. Either way, you win, because you are no longer the one compromising your soul for a seat at a table where you aren't being fed. Your time and your energy are the only two things you can never get back, yet you have been handing them out like flyers on a street corner to someone who doesn't even bother to read them. It is time to treat your affection as a rare and precious resource that is only available to those who have demonstrated a long-term commitment to your well-being. By making your time difficult to obtain, you are restoring its natural value. You are reminding the world that an hour of your life is a gift that should be received with gratitude, not an obligation to be endured. This reflects the economic principle of value-based pricing. If you are always available and always eager to please, you are essentially a commodity with no differentiation. But when you are focused on your own mission and your own growth, your time becomes a luxury. Historically, the common was shared by everyone and valued by none, while the sacred was guarded and revered. You must move from the common to the sacred. This means saying no to plans that don't excite you and refusing to entertain those who only call you when they have no other options. Shift your focus from being useful to being valuable. A tool is useful until it breaks or is replaced. A person of value is irreplaceable because of who they are, not just what they do. Stop trying to earn their appreciation by being more convenient for them. Instead, become so focused on your own purpose that you literally don't have the time to worry about someone who doesn't appreciate the far time you do give. Distance is the ultimate filter. It separates those who actually love you from those who were merely using you to avoid their own loneliness. During this time of silence, you will see the truth without the distortion of your own hope. If they never reach out, never wonder where you went, and never feel a pang of regret, then you have received the most valuable gift possible. The truth. You have discovered that you were holding on to a phantom, and now you are finally free to go find something real. This process is a psychological unmasking. In the absence of your constant effort, the other person's true level of investment is revealed. Historically, it was only during times of separation or trial that the strength of an alliance could be measured. If the relationship falls apart the moment you stop carrying it, then it was never a relationship to begin with. It was a solo performance that you were paying for with your own sanity. The mirror of distance doesn't lie. It shows you exactly where the gaps in the foundation were located. Use this clarity to fuel your resolve. If the silence confirms their indifference, do not see it as a failure on your part. See it as a successful extraction of yourself from a situation that was leading nowhere. You are not losing them. You are finally stopping the leak in your own emotional boat. The truth may hurt, but it is the only thing that can set you on a course toward a life where you are truly seen and valued. If and when they return, because your absence has finally poked a hole in their ego, you must meet them from a place of absolute fullness, not desperate hunger. This is the moment where most people fail. They see the text or the call and immediately revert to their old needy selves. But you are different now. You are standing on the ground you built for yourself. You are no longer looking for them to tell you that you are worthy. You already know it. Now, you get to be the one who decides if they are worthy of you. This is the shift from being the chosen to being the chooser. Psychologically, when you operate from a place of abundance, you make better decisions for your long-term health. You are no longer acting out of a fear of being alone, because you have already mastered being alone. Historically, the leader who returns to a negotiation from a position of strength is the one who sets the terms. You are not there to punish them. You are there to objectively assess whether this person actually has a place in the new life you have a place constructed. Ask yourself, does this person add to my peace, or do they subtract from it? If their return is just another attempt to regain control or to see if you are still trapped, your silence should remain unbroken. But if they return with a genuine appreciation for the value they lost, then, and only then, can you consider a new dynamic. The power is entirely yours, because you have realized that your happiness is no longer their responsibility. Nature abhors a vacuum, and when you remove a toxic or indifferent person from your life, you are creating the necessary space for authentic, reciprocal connections to arrive. Most people stay in bad relationships because they fear the emptiness. But it is that very emptiness that acts as a magnetic field for the right people. By refusing to settle for being subestimado, you are signaling to the universe that you are finally ready for a peer, not a project. You are clearing the rubble so that a real foundation can be laid. This is the psychological principle of social pruning. Just as a plant must be pruned of dead leaves to grow, your social circle must be pruned of those who drain your energy. Historically, those who achieved greatness always had to leave behind those who could not see their vision. By walking away from those who don't value you, you are making room for those who will. You are moving from a world of tolerating to a world of appreciating. The quality of your life is the average of the people you allow to stay in it. Do not rush to fill the space. Let the silence breathe for a while. The right people, those who resonate with your new higher frequency, will find you when you are no longer busy trying to fix those who are broken. Trust that your value is not a secret that needs to be shouted. It is a reality that the right people will recognize the moment you stop hiding it behind a mask of desperation. Self-respect is the most powerful aphrodisiac and the most potent form of social magnetism. When you treat yourself with dignity, you project an energy that literally teaches the world how to handle you. You don't have to demand respect when you embody it. People are naturally drawn to those who seem to possess a hidden well of internal approval. By walking away from neglect, you have become that person. You have become someone who is expensive in the best possible way, rare, precious, and entirely worth the effort. This magnetism is a byproduct of being centered. When you are no longer chasing others, your energy stops leaking and begins to accumulate around your own purpose. Psychologically, this makes you appear more stable, more confident, and more attractive. Historically, the figures who stood their ground and refused to compromise their integrity were the ones who attracted the most loyal followers. You are now a leader of your own life, and that leadership is visible to everyone you meet. Watch how the world changes its response to you as you change your response to yourself. New opportunities, new friends, and a new sense of peace will begin to flow toward you. You haven't changed your appearance or your status. You have simply changed the rules of the game. You have stopped being a beggar for love and have become a king in the realm of your own self-worth. The ultimate realization of this journey is that you were never actually waiting for them to value you. You were waiting for you to value you. Their indifference was just a mirror reflecting back your own lack of self-respect. Now that you have broken that mirror and found the source of your own dignity, their opinion has lost all its power over your soul. You are enough because you exist, not because someone else noticed. This is the final truth that ends the cycle of overthinking and starts the era of living. This psychological liberation is the goal of all personal growth. It is the transition from needing to being. Historically, the sages and warriors who reached this state were described as being in the world, but not of it. They could engage with others deeply, but their core happiness remained untouched by the ebb and flow of human attention. You have achieved this through the fire of your own absence. You have proven to yourself that you can survive the loss of another person and emerge even stronger on the other side. Carry this truth with you as a shield and a compass. Never again will you allow your worth to be a question that someone else gets to answer. Treat yourself with the love and dignity you once begged for, and the world will have no choice but to follow suit. You have gained the ultimate victory, the ability to walk through life knowing that your value is an inherent part of who you are, independent of any external validation. Your journey through the desert of neglect has brought you to the oasis of your own spirit. You have learned that silence is not a sign of weakness, but the ultimate expression of a man who knows his own price. The person who didn't appreciate you was not a tragedy. They were a catalyst for the person you have now become. This is the end of the chase, and the beginning of your reign. If this narrative has awakened the sleeping giant of your self-respect, subscribe to this community of high-value individuals and support the mission of reclaiming our internal power. Share this with one person who is currently begging for a seat at the wrong table. Comment below with "I am untouchable" to lock in this new reality and signal that you are done being subestimado. Your life of dignity is not a dream. It is the choice you make right now. Step into your power and never look back.